All right, so we're gonna start. Thank you everybody for coming. Don't mind me, I'm still a little sick, so if I cough and hack away, don't mind. Um, okay, so it's kind of hard because I can't really hear you guys, and I kind of wanted to do it in a form that I could actually hear you guys. But if there's any extensive questions, just let me know, and maybe we'll figure something out. But either way, let's just start. So we're gonna start with let's see here. First of all, I'm going to share my desktop. Can you all see my desktop? Okay. So, so you all basically know what we're doing here. I'm just going to jump right into where to get the practice account because I have one set up already. This is it right here. So, and if you can, you could do this right now, or you could just remember the process and do it after. But it's better if you kind of do it now because I want to make paper trades as the business, and I think you all should have it set up so that you can make the trade as well. So we're going to make one or two trades tonight, just at the very end of this meeting, and then hopefully yours is set up so that way you can make the trade just as well as the corporation's making the trade. So you're actually doing it yourself if you need that to help you learn. So we're going to go with avatrade.com. Okay, so avatrade.com, what that's going to do is give you a demo account. You see that? Open a demo account. You're going to click that, and then you're going to fill these fields out. We're going to change metaphor to avatrade. Click done. So that should now say avatrader. And fill in your form right here and click start trading. When you guys are done that, let me know. Should only take a minute. I was going to email the broker to let him know who was in our group and what emails will be involved in this. Hopefully everybody opens up a practice account, even couples, because it's better if everybody learns. So would y'all mind if I gave your email to the broker from Avatrade, and hopefully he can help us move forward as a group? If you're okay with that, just say yes, but if you're not, say no. Well, he's not really a broker. He's somebody from Avatrade, and they have newsletters and stuff, and he can point us to some very basic tutorials because he's doing this for a living. So I'm sure it will help you guys out a lot more. So what you'll receive is a newsletter from Avatrade, and you're signing up anyways. You're giving your email either way. I'm just going to let him know that you guys are with me and we're learning a certain way. So hopefully he can focus emails towards what we're doing more so than random strategies. And AvaTrade is the brokerage company. You do have to go through some sort of institute to make your trades. So when you make a trade, they take a certain amount of pips to begin with. Hopefully everybody knows what a pip is by now. Yeah, it's not, it doesn't hurt. You can look at the weekly analysis. If you can understand it, it helps out. Yes, there's fees when you make trades. So only when you make a trade, it'll take it directly out of the trade. So let's say you put in $100 and you start off with a trade, you'll be like minus $8 just to start. So right away when you make a trade, you're in the minus to begin with. Some things have more cost than others, so we have to be careful, and I'll show you about that. Just let me know when you guys are set. Once you're set, you can open up the AvaTrader software and log into your new practice account, and you should see $100,000 there. When we trade, we're going to trade as if we only have $5,000 to $10,000, so we can make it very much more realistic. Okay, so just open up your Windows, and you should start out with a bunch of, let me close mine. I'll restart it to see. What do you guys see? Download the platform. The web trading platform gets buggy and laggy, so you got to be careful with that one. But if you're not at home and you're ever thinking to make a trade or you want to see what's going on, you can log into the web trading platform. Okay, hopefully you're all done. If somebody's not done, let me know right now. All right, so before we work with that platform, I just want to first of all say that you now have your practice accounts. So everything we do as the corporation, you should do yourself as well, just so you can go through the runaround yourself. Um, my account is going to be the corporation account, so that will count as the real trade. So if you want to, well, that's okay. Just keep going. If you want to make practice trades on your own with your own account, you can do that. So if you find yourself more confident that you're able to make the lines, and after you've read the tutorials and stuff, you really should try and make trades yourself. But that will be a little down the road, I think, because it does take time. Just going to wait for everybody to be finished installing that. Whoever's finished can look at my desktop here, and I'm just going to show you a little trick about how I practice. I mean, it's not a perfect way to practice. Well, actually, you know what? First of all, I'm going to just show you how I regularly trade. So what I normally do, okay, is I go to the longest chart, the monthly chart. So the longest time frame of a chart, so we can see the real trend. This is the longest trend. This is over years time. So these lines are very reliable. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, usually what I do is I take a line right here. I'm going to take this freehand line, freehand, and I'm going to start from the very top of the chart. So this is the highest point of the chart. All right, so I'm going to click and hold. Usually I'll go to the second one, and you can see that that is a point. That's a point. Like you can see the price is actually testing it right now. But the thing is that the price also falsely broke that. So what we could do is we could make multiple lines, or we can go by this one. So this is the most reliable one. This one right here, here to here. I know it's only 2 bounces, but it's such a long trend that it's going to be pretty reliable. You could even consider it more than 2 bounces, as if you bring it down a little like that. You know, it's give or take, right? But when you're trading, you want to go right to the peaks and make sure that when you make the trade, you know where the real line is. But to make sure it has 3 bounces, I move it down and I can see it did make 3 bounces. Okay, so that's kind of hard to explain. Like you're going to see that over time, and it's just something you'll get used to in time. So now I see 2 major resistances. Okay, this here is a bottom support that was broke. All right, so we know where the majors are. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to remove that because I only see one single bounce on it. Anyways, if this line is to break, which is it could, then it'll most likely test this line here. So we would keep an eye on this. So this is how I normally trade. I go into the monthly, and I go into the weekly, and you can see a different story. So in the weekly trade, you can see down here that there was a trend line happening there. So this would have been a good trading opportunity on the weekly chart. So when it broke, you can see that it made its move, and we would have been laughing. Now, once I'm done the weekly, I go to the daily. So I know right now a major trend is about to break, but likely it's not going to, for the simple fact that because it's such a long-term strong trend, is most likely going to go down. So you have to be careful for false breaks here. Oh, did somebody just type something there? Okay, sorry. Which chart are you talking about? The one I'm using right now, or the one we're actually going to trade from? The one I'm using now. Okay. All right, that's a good idea. I should do that because we'll be using those a lot. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to dailyeffects.com. and you're going to go to the chart section right here. Okay, I can do that. Just reinforce everything. I did do that in the first email, so if you want to refer back to that later, you can. So I went to charts. I clicked on free charts, free Forex charts, and I like to use NetDania. Hopefully you all have JavaScript installed because you need it. Once it's open, this is the chart. I don't care about anything around it. I only care about the middle part chart here. So I'm going to take this pin right here and I'm going to click it. That's going to detach it. Now this chart is not functioning. You're just going to use this one now. We're going to full page it, and here's your charts. If you click and drag, you can move it around, which is going to be very useful for practicing. Okay, so down here you have the time frame. Okay, so this is the 10th on the 20th hour, the 11th at 12 o'clock, the 12th at 12 o'clock, so you can see the time here and the date. And if you highlight it, you can see the actual date in its form. Now, right here is the price. Okay, and it doesn't really matter about the price. All we really care about is how many pips we're going to make. So if it was $2 or $10, it would make no difference to us. It wouldn't cost any more or less to trade it. So this is the 1 hour Euro USD. What that means is the first one is a currency paired against a second currency. So this is the European dollar versus the United States dollar. Okay, so when it goes up, that means the European dollar is gaining ground on the United States dollar. And when it goes down, it's vice versa. The United States dollar is gaining value and the Euro dollar is losing value against each other. Okay, so you got the monthly, weekly, daily, 8 hour, 4 hour, 2 hour, 1, 30 minute, 15, 10, 5, 1 ticker. So right now we're on the 1 hour chart. What this means is each bar is 1 hour. So every bar that passes is another hour that passed in the past. This is all the past. Okay, the last bar of the most current one, this is right now, this bar. So next hour from now at 10 o'clock, there'll be a new bar here. At 11 o'clock, there'll be a new bar. If I put that on the daily, now each bar is a day. So every day that passes is a new bar. So this is the new day today. Nothing's happened yet because the markets don't open till earlier in the morning tomorrow. So there's not barely any movement. But when it opens, it's gonna go crazy, and lots of money could be made. Over here you have where you can make your lines. Okay, now right here shows you if I always use the freehand line because these lines, like, they'll do funny things. You see how that dotted line is going everywhere? Like, I want to go to the top and it's like bouncing all over, but if I do it freehand, I can put it wherever I want. So I start from the very top and I go to the next one. That's the line. So this is our line. So if this breaks that, it will shoot that way. It'll make a big move like that, but on the up. So that won't happen for a long time, probably months. So we wouldn't even really be watching this trade unless something big happened, like war broke out or something of the sort. This is the type of charts right here. Okay, so we're always, most of the time, we're using the candlestick charts. I used to use the OHLC, but I like the candlesticks now, so we're just going to use that. And sometimes we're going to use this. And the reason I say that is because if you look at this, sure, you can see how many bounces, but we want to help confirm our bounces on the line. So if we go like that, we can see, we can take this more like that, and we can bring this down more like that, and you can see that it's made different kind of contact, and you can see that that's actually the line. Okay, so that's why you have a little give or take on the up or down. But if we trade this, we're going to do this when it comes time to trading it. because you want it to be pinpoint accuracy as much as you can. So the reason why I did that is because I took the one top peak and went to the next highest peak. So this one was higher than this one, so I went to this one instead of that one. And now the line follows and the price will follow that either way. This can remove all components that you put, or if I want to just remove the one, then I just click it, it's highlighted, remove the one. Done. So I click that. Sorry, let me do that again because that wasn't too clear. The line is there, so I'm going to click this, and then I'm going to select the one I want to delete. And there it goes. Hold on, I'm not done yet. I'll ask questions in a minute. So that explains everything that you need to see on here, what the bars mean, what the price is, what the date is, what the time frame is, what the style of chart is, the lines. Before I move up here, any questions? Oh, sorry, you've been typing and I didn't even notice that. Yes, when it surpasses the blue line. So whenever we make a line and we have at least, professionals say a minimum of 2, but I like to do 3. I mean, we could do 2, but there's more risk with just 2 bounces off the line. So we want 3 bounces off the line. And when the price bounces 3 times off the line, if it surpasses the line or breaks through it, then it's going to go in that direction. And I'm going to give you a little example of how that actually works and how we can practice that as well. So normally, like I said, you need to see the long term to know the trends and stuff. So this type of practice is flawed, but it still helps you practice. And not every chart does this. So you could choose another chart and it doesn't behave this way, so we can't trade it. And we'll deal with that later. Right now we're going to deal with a chart that really does behave this way. So to practice, I take my line. I start from the very bottom of the chart or top. Because it's going upward, I'm starting at the bottom. If it was going downward, I'd start at the top and make my top line. So because it's at the bottom, I'm starting at the bottom and I'm going to make my line right there. Do you know why? The reason why is because this is the lowest point and this is the second lowest point. So if I went to this one, then those are passing. So that's not it. It has to be there. Okay. Any questions? If you have no questions, just don't type. Okay. So as we go along, right now I clicked the hourly chart. I zoomed in. So it's not really that good to have it this zoomed in, but I'm doing this so I can't see the whole picture. Like, you need to see the whole picture of the trade, but to practice, if you see the whole picture, you're kind of cheating. So it's kind of a hard thing. So it's flawed, but it's fun. So you take your chart like that, and now you know that this is a main trend line right now for what we can see. So we're gonna say that that's an actual trend line because it's got 1, 2, 3 bounces off it. Okay, and this is what it would look like in real time. Every hour, every time it moves, it's another hour's gone by, another hour, another hour. So you can see the usefulness of this, because if we had to do this in real time, it's fun, but this is fun too. This gives you more practice faster. So we're looking for a break on that down. You see how it's broken on the down? Now we wouldn't trade right now, but that's pretty close to a break. That's maybe not. Like, what we want to do when we're trading this is we want to get in about a box or a box and a half below the break, because this might just turn back up and go up and just bounce off again. So we have to be careful for that. So yes, that's for sure, that's going down now. All the while it does that, it makes a new line. So now we're able to really trade it, because the first line we were unsure whether that was a real trend line or not because we couldn't see the whole picture. But now we see enough to know that this is a nice good line with 3 good bounces on it. If the price surpasses that line, which it will because it goes up and down, when it surpasses that line is when it's going to start going up in the other direction. And there it goes. So now we have a new trend line. One right here, and the next one is right there. It could be tempting to do that, but you probably should just stick to that. Notice how the line extends itself. I didn't make this line. So when you watch, you'll see the prices will stick to these lines in the future. It's a pretty interesting thing. This here, we're making lines all the time. So if you see something that looks like, hey, it had trouble getting past here before, you can see right here, you can see right here, and you can see right now. So let's make a line there. That could be something, right? I mean, we wouldn't trade it right now, but it's good to note that it's there. And yes, so it turns out it was a support line or a resistance line. Here's the next resistance line. If it breaks through that, it will go up even higher. So now it's testing our original line. You see how it went below it, but it's not done yet? Lines, as time goes by, need to be adjusted. So this is probably just correcting itself and doing that. So that's why it's important to go a box and a half, even sometimes 2 boxes below, because what you think is a break may not be a break. And that is a break. And you can see the new line is right there. And as that breaks, the price should go surpass that. There's also another bottom right here. You see it struggled on the bottom there, so we're going to keep an eye on that. I know it gets a little confusing seeing all these lines, but it's important to see how there's barriers, and when these barriers break, the prices shoot. So this is probably a barrier because it struggled there for a while, and it broke through it. And you can see there it goes. So now we're waiting for this. So if we were watching this live right now, this is how we would trade this. We would take our line from the top to the next top. If it surpasses this line, a box and a half above, automatically it will do it for us because we'll have set it up already. We'll be in on the up. Okay? Which means we're going for a long position. Long positions are up. You're expecting it to go up. A short position is when you're expecting it to go down. There it is. So we would be in on this trade already. How much profit we decide to take is another story. If you're too greedy, you got to be careful for that. You don't want to be too greedy. Each box is 20 pips. So this here is a 20, 40, 60, almost 80 pip move. That's even enough profit right there. That would give us a fair amount of money. Now, when breaks happen, very commonly it will shoot up this way, then it will come back down. Hold on, I'll answer that in a second. It shoots up, then it comes back down and tests this line here. 80 pips profit, it depends. If you want to spend maybe $300 in a trade, then it'll probably be about $2 a pip. So that's $160. If you spend $1,000 in a trade, which is 10% of our account, maximum we'll trade is 20%. So that would be doable if we had 10,000, of course. Then if we had 5,000, then 1,000 is the absolute max, and we probably wouldn't even trade that much. We'd probably do a $500 trade, and that would probably give us maybe $354 a pip. So probably about $300 profit just right there. And that happened in a half a day. So as this comes down, it's going to come and test, and it's going to make a new line. Most likely something like that. But don't quote me on that because I don't know. There. No. There. Now, when it surpasses this, you can make another trade on the up. You see how we're getting a bit of a wedge going? That's what we look for. There. Now we know it's going to go even further up. And there it goes. You could stay in until it breaks this line, but I don't know if we'll do that for a while anyways. We might do that in time, but for the moment we'll say let's make 100 pips or 120 pips and we'll set our profit at that. So you see that? That went below the line, but you can see my line because I didn't know what the line was originally, so it needs to be adjusted. So that's our line. There. There it goes. And here's a new line. And it's always making lines. Every time it goes, it's always making lines. If it breaks that line, it's going to continue its upward trend, and there it goes. See, it's not perfect. Like right here, you see that? We would have got in on that, and then we probably would have been stopped out. That happens. You got to be ready for that, but you can't really let that get you down, because what will happen is this will happen, and everybody's going to feel bad. It's just, it sucks to lose money, but it does happen. So when you take a loss, you need to step back and just take a breather, maybe take a day off, get away from it. It's easy to revenge trade. So when you have your own account, you got to make sure if you take losses, you should just step away and come back another day. So anyways, you guys get the point. That's how we practice with that. You see, lines are changing all the time. But either way, does anybody have any questions? Now to our practice account. This is our corporate account. We don't have a name for our corporation yet, but we'll figure one out. Now, for starters, this is the same thing that we were looking at, just in a different look. It's the same thing. Yes, you should be on this. Everybody should be on this. You should have your own practice account now, and you should see something like this on your screen. You can close everything, so all you see is that and a chart. If you don't have a chart open, you could just go to open charts. You know, that's what I'm going to start with right here. I'm going to start with the home view, because this is what you're probably seeing. And you're probably seeing some kind of quote thing on the side. You can close the quote thing and close everything till you only have this. Once you only have this, you can go to up here to charts, and you can click new chart. And we're going to look at the first of all, see, the thing about this is we can trade multiple things. We can trade Forex, which is my favorite. We can trade commodities, and like Tony, he wanted to dabble in the energy sector for a little bit there, so that's one of my favorites, oil, right there. So you can do corn, you can do agricultural commodities, you can do stocks, bonds, all sorts of things we can invest in. Okay, but really, it doesn't really matter what you're investing as long as it does what we want it to do. Whoa, this checkered screen is a play on the eyes. Anyways, moving back to, I want you to open up, I think it's corn, the 1 week chart for corn. And that's what should open up. You can use the box here to bring it up to size. Then you're going to look up here on the top left of the chart. You can see it says corn. That's how you select your indicators. So whatever chart you want, you select from there. We're on corn, so that's where we are. This is the time frame. We're going to stick with the 1 week for now. This is a zoom in, zoom out. You got, oh, did somebody type something there? Are you in the AvaTrader format, or are you in that other chart we were just looking at? Are you still here? If you're still here, close that window. We don't need that no more. That what this is this is good practice. This helps us look at things when we're not in our accounts. But when we're actually making a trade, we're going to make the trade right in here in AvaTrader. So you need to open AvaTrader. Once you open AvaTrader, you go to the charts tab, you click new charts, and you choose corn and 1 week. Did you download the program? Do you see what I'm seeing? Okay. When you click that button on the top left of the screen and you see these things right here, you only have the green ones. You don't see no orange ones, no blue ones, no nothing? Something was wrong when you signed up for the practice account. Okay, I'll help you with that later because we're not going to work on that too much. But for now, you can look at mine. Okay, so we're just looking at the corn here. So you have this here is a whole whack of indicators, different ways to trade, different things. Some of them useful, some of them not. We're not going to get into that. But down the road, we probably will because there's some useful stuff in there. But for now, we're just going to close that off. Okay, you can print your charts, which I don't know why you would. Here's your line tool for in here. I don't normally trade from in here, but I chose this because it has the corn option, which you don't have, Vanessa. But this is why I chose this chart, because it has the corn option. Otherwise, I would make my lines in this program here, but it doesn't have commodities. So we're just going to go in here. And most of the time, we're not going to trade corn and stuff like that. So don't worry. If you can't get it to work, it's not a big deal. What you should have though is we should get it to work because we may trade crude oil and we may trade gold when the time comes. But for now, we're not. So don't worry. So you can make your lines from here. Oh, that's to remove your lines. To make your lines is right here. So these are all the different types of lines. And something we're going to talk about is the Fibonacci retracement another time. So just keep that in mind. That's a good way to know where the price is going when it makes breaks. So that's an interesting piece for another day. Anyways, you can use your line. You can draw your line. It's not the same as the other chart. It doesn't continue on. It only stops where you stop. Okay, now this is the style of chart. So you have the candlestick, bar, and line. We're on candlestick. And you have the time frame on the bottom, and you have the price on the side. And this is the current price right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to move back as far as we can here. We're going to look at this chart here, and we're going to look at the very bottom of the chart. And the very bottom of the chart is right here. And we're going to make a line there. That's the only line that continues on. It's the straight line. The trend line doesn't continue on, and the vertical line continues on. I don't know why you would bother with a vertical line. Anyways, there's our bottom line. Okay. Now, in a current downtrend is right here. See how I did that? I took the top, and I probably would go to this next one, but I think this is the highest peak right here. So I bring it closest to that highest peak. It's give or take. You know, right now we're not trading on the dime, so it doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but we know that's what it is. So we have here a very strong long term. Let me see if it's even on the monthly here. No. So we have a strong long-term bottom. 1, 2. It's only made 2 bounces, but it's still very long-term. So we're definitely going to keep an eye on that. If it was to break that, it will probably shoot down pretty far. I don't think it's going to break that. I think it's going to break this one. So this is the one we really would like to keep an eye on. But because this is a weekly chart, this is months in the making. This here is probably what, oh 09, 0909, I don't know, probably a year or two's time, maybe 3 years time. And if it breaks, there's going to be a huge opportunity here. So throughout our paper trading times, we're just going to keep an eye on that, because if it breaks, we can make a lot of money. You see this orange thing right here? That orange thing. I'm going to zoom right in there. This is important, because this tells you how much the brokerage is going to take. So whatever you invest, that's the chunk that the brokerage takes. So let's say the reason why I stay away from a lot of these type of trades here, the energy trades and stuff, which you can explain to Tony later. But let's say we go to natural gas. Natural gas, and we normally trade around the 1 hour chart. So you can see that is quite a bit of a take. Like, the bigger this is, the less we're going to want to trade it. And this is actually pretty big. If you go to like gold, you can see it's a little smaller. And if you go to one of the smallest ones is the Euro USD. Oops. See, this is the Euro Russian dollar. And the Russians they made it pretty much impossible to trade it, because they didn't want speculators like us with a lot of money to devalue their dollar, because it was already being devalued. So when you look at the daily chart, you can see what the war in Ukraine did. That, I knew this was going to do something like this when it was right here. I don't know if you remember that, Keaton, but I was saying it for a while, right around here, when they were uncertain whether Russia was going to continue into Ukraine, and they did. So now you can see things are stabling out. If Russia does something stupid, then we're gonna have something right here. Now I just want to show you this. Actually, that could possibly be a break there. I'm not 100% sure. You have to be careful, because if you follow the trend line too closely, it could just be just another spot, and that could actually be the trend line. So you got to be careful with these tight trends. You want big bounces like this one, this one, this one. So you knew that this truly was a line, okay? Or even like this, because it's not always going to be the very bottom one. Like, trends happen throughout the inner workings of it as well. So it, like this one right here, if we had to follow the very first one to the very next peak, you could see that didn't do anything. So that wasn't it. And we may have traded that, because you can see it's got the bounces off the line. Actually, that looks like a breakdown. So I don't know what I'm talking about. Either way, that was a good trade right there. You could be very rich from that. Now I'm going to show you something here. The Great Britain. Does anybody have any questions? Hopefully I'm not confusing everybody too much here. Okay. What I'm going to do here is show you what I did here last night. So if your program is working, open up the Great Britain pound USD dollar and bring it down to the 1 hour chart. And if you can't, just look at mine. Now you can see each bar is an hour. There's the price. So what was happening here is we were getting resistance lines there, and then it jumped up and then made another one. And then it jumped up, made another one, and then it jumped up, made another one. So what happened here was, when I traded this, that's what I saw. So it's only natural to believe that if it breaks up, and each time it broke up, it didn't really go down much. So it was just a clear break, a clear break, a clear break. So I was like, all right, if it goes above here, I'm gonna get in on the up, and my stop loss will be right here. And I made a paper trade. Now this is exactly what you got to be careful for, because if you take your stop loss and put it too close to this, boom, that put me in a little bit, one box above the line, or maybe a box and a half above the line. I got in, and then boom, it went down and went right below my stop loss and knocked me out for a $100,000 account minus $5,000, just because I didn't move my stop loss to here instead. And then it did that. So when that happened and I woke up in the morning and I saw this, I just decided, hey, I'm going to make the next trade because I know it's going up either way because it already made the break. It just kind of knocked me out on the bottom. And I did. And that turned out to be a profit of $12,000 in just an hour or two. So my point in that trade was to show you how much a little move from here to here was actually $17,000. So you can see when you have a lot of money, a tiny little movement of a profit. There's my move. You see, right from here to here was $17,000. And I made it for real. But from here to here, a much bigger move was only a loss of $5,000. That's because the amount of money I put in was only 1,000,000 units. Whereas for the next trade, I made 8.1 million units, which we would never make a trade like that. Trust me, we wouldn't risk our whole account or half the account. We're maximum 20%. So very unlikely to get a profit like that. But if you were wealthy down the road, if we made a lot of money, this is the type of moves we will be making. Little tiny moves like that. So when something makes a break like this, that's $100,000. That's $300,000. Look at that. That tiny little bit. Turn to that instead, and all we had to do is get it on the break. This all happened in 3 days' time. You could literally make $1,000,000 off this if you had enough money. But for us, let's say that move is not impressive, because what that move was actually was only 21 pips. So for us, that would be $210 at $10 a pip. So it went from 17,000 to $210. Big difference. But we start out small. We build our account. We keep it building. We keep it building. Each time it gets bigger, our trades get slightly bigger, slightly bigger. 2 years from now, and we're going to be seeing trades like that. No problem at all. And you see, I didn't have to stay in to make a big amount of money. So when you're trying to ride this entire up, there's not really a reason to stay for the down. That's tens of thousands of dollars on the down if you have a lot of money. So you don't want to ride that. You want to get out close to here, right? You want to get this move right here, make your $100,000 to $300,000, and get the heck out. And then when we see this happening, then we're waiting for the next break. Now, mind you, there could have been a break on the down, right? So especially when you see a triangle like that. So if it went down, it would just go down instead, and we can make the same amount of money just on the down. So that's a lesson learned. Stop losses need to be placed correctly. So you got to make room for those little false breaks. So really, our stop loss for this trade actually needs to be here. And the reason is that is the last support line that there was. For now, for the current time, now, this is the new support line. So if the price goes below this, it's going to continue to go down. If this shoots up again, this will be the new bottom. And when it breaks that, it will go down. So every time it moves up a level, it makes a new bottom. So first it was here. If the price went below that, it was going to go down. Then it shot up again, made a new bottom. If it hit there, it was going to go down. It shot up, made a new bottom, shot up, made a new bottom. Now I can't say a new bottom is made yet. I wouldn't. So right now that is still the bottom. So you can see how you can make money off this very easily. I mean, it's yeah. Okay, any questions? This is probably the time to have questions because we're going to make a paper trade in a moment, and then I guess we'll wrap it up unless anybody else wants to practice a little more. I'm willing to stay a little more if you want to. And if I missed anything, I'm not a teacher, so I'm trying. So if you think I missed something, let me know, and if we have time, we'll just cover it. If everybody's good, type in good. Okay, paper trading time. All right, what did I have there? Let me. Um, Turn your heads. What I sent was current opportunities. Let's look at those. Okay, that was a good opportunity right there. Does everybody understand what's going on here? Why I made lines here? Why I made lines here? And why you can't see it from here, but why would there be a line there? If you don't understand this, tell me right now. Say no. Okay? So let's look what's going on with that now, because that was a couple days ago when I sent that. So that's the USD Canadian dollar in the 1 hour time frame. So we're gonna go to USD Canadian 1 hour. Zoom right out. Okay. So it did not do what we wanted it to do. It still has a really good trend line there, but it's too far away. It's testing this bottom trend line, which it looks like it actually broke. This is probably going to shoot down. I mean, I'm not going to trade this one just because my preference is on the up because it's already going down. The reason why I don't do that much, we might in time. Like, let's look at the longer term and see what's happening. See that all that huge movement was just such a little bit. Now, in the long term, we can see that there's actually a resistance on the bottom here that it's getting close to. So this is most likely going to come down here and touch this line because there's really nothing else stopping it except for that line right there, which you see it struggled a little bit over here as well. And it seems to be breaking it. It may not, but it seems to be. It's most likely going to touch this. I doubt it will break it. It's very rare that it makes these huge breaks. So we're not going to trade this, but we can keep an eye on it because if it does come back up there, which it can happen within a day or two. Resistance, okay. Support and resistance. Resistance is a ceiling. So when you jump, the ceiling is going to resist you from jumping right through to the next floor. The floor is the bottom line. So the bottom line is a floor, is a support. So if you're climbing up and you jump on a landing, you got a support landing. So these are supports and these are resistances. So anything that's stopping you from going up is a resistance, and anything that's stopping you from going down is a support. So we'll keep an eye on that. We can't really paper trade that right now. This could be interpreted different ways. I mean, maybe you want to go up here and count that as the line, but I think that this is actually more of a shorter term trend line here, and then you have your next trend line here, which is actually soon going to align together. And if it breaks the both, it will really make a good jump. So that's probably what's going to happen. It's probably going to stagger until these get right down over here and the price is all crunched up in there with it until it gets one of these broken, and then it'll probably break right around here. It's hard to say. I'm not really into predicting. I just know that if it breaks, it will be nice. So let me see if I can quickly find a chart that's worth trading here. Sometimes it's hard to find a good opportunity to trade. We may not find something. If we don't, we're just going to keep our eyes open. So you can see a bit of a false break there. That might have caught us. That might have made us lose money there. So we're going to be careful with this one. This one doesn't seem to be respecting the trend lines too much. Let's stay away from that one. And this is how I find opportunities. So we're in a daily chart. We're going to go to the hourly. We don't really need to see the daily. We only need these smaller moves here. So if you got, there's a trend line there. This is the 1 hour chart. That could break. I could see that happening. That's a nice strong trend line. You see how I did that? It's the first one to the second one. And then the line just followed on its own either way. It's a give or take thing. So what we're going to have here is we're going to say, I don't think this is going to break. We're going to make this trade anyways. You never know if it's going to break or not. So we're going to say, see, here's the thing. If the line breaks this angled line down the road particularly, you have a support right here as well. So it would be better to not trade on this break, but to actually trade on this break. So if it's over here and the price goes like this and then breaks this, sure, you can make that, but you have to be careful. That's not too many pips and it could bounce back when it hits here. So really we want to trade on the break of this line here. And actually that's a little concerning too, so we have to be careful about that. So I would say that a good trade for this would be at 33,800. 1.33800. So I'm going to right click on the chart. So you can do a buy right now. I could click buy and set up a buy right now and we'll be in the market. Or a sell, which we want to sell. We'd be in the market right away. But that's not what we want to do. We want to have an entry order. So an entry order to sell at this price, but we're going to change the price. This is what opens up. If you're using AvaTrader right now, you should do that right now. So just right click on your chart, anywhere, it doesn't matter, and entry order for a sell. And we are going to set the amount to 100,000. That's going to give us 10 bucks a pip. That's common. That's probably the type of trades we'll make. And we are going to say at 1.33800. So we're going to change the rate to 1.338. So that tells us 180.3 pips away is where our target is. So it's not likely that's going to break in the next few days. It could. I mean, this is just an hourly chart. It does move, so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully everybody saw this. I'm going to click OK. You see our brokerage fee? It's a little big. That's all right. It's not much. One little movement and we'll be in the green right away. And then I'm going to click OK. And then we're going to make one more trade because that may not break. Let's look at... Remember that chart I told everybody to keep an eye on because it was just making its break? This is that chart. It's moved up a fair amount more. You see how it broke and then came back down and tested a line, but this bottom never went below this bottom. That's important. So once it did that, our stop loss would have been here on the break here. So that's a big movement. That's a lot of money you have to be able to withstand. So that's the type of trade you got to be careful with. But made a nice move. We're not going to trade that because I don't know where that's going now. Once the break happens, I can't predict much. Well, it looks like that good long-term trend didn't break. It was a false break. Remember I told you that if it ends above the break at the end of the week, it's a break? It looks like it's going to come downward now. So we're not going to trade that because we don't know for sure. But that is another way that we're going to practice trading, is we're going to trade on breakouts and we're going to trade on things that don't break out. So seeing this here, if this doesn't break out, then that price is again going to test this bottom here. So the price is probably going to go down here. And that's a nice profit right there. And we will trade like that with one account, and we'll trade just breaks with another account to see which one performs better, because maybe it performs better, I don't know. So moving along, just going to find one more. That was a nice break, but don't know what that's doing now. My favorite to trade is gold, but it's so much more risky because each movement is large. So if you look at this, oh, what's going on here? My system's lagging. Java Trader just crashed on me. Can you guys still hear me? Are you still there? Okay. Did you guys get a chance to make that paper trade? If you didn't, just type no. Okay, take the time and make the trade now. I'm going to pull it back up. So we are trading the European Canadian dollar. Can't log in? Okay. I think I know what happened. I think when you signed up for the demo account, you didn't change to the AvaTrader and you left it at MetaTrader. So what you can do is just reopen an account, and it'll just make sure you click change to AvaTrader. Like if you go to avatrade.com, click open demo account. This right here, MetaTrader 4, is probably you didn't change that. So you need to click there, you need to highlight AvaTrader, click done, make sure it says AvaTrader, and then fill out the information and you should be fine. When you have a real account, you don't have to keep filling out this information. Like I could just keep going through accounts if I want. So it's much easier for me, but you need to get that part right if you're going to be able to trade. So you should just do that right now if you can. In the meantime, anybody else, make the trade if you can make the trade, okay? So it's a European Canadian dollar. And then we are going to AvaTrader. I thought you did that, Keaton. You told me you did it. Well, you mean the chart? If you're talking about the chart, it's the European Canadian dollar 1 hour chart. If you're looking at the same screen that I have here, then you should be fine. If you're missing gold and silver and corn and all that, then you probably didn't set it up right. When you get to the European Canadian chart on the 1 hour format, you're going to right click the chart anywhere on the chart, and you're going to click entry, order, sell. Doesn't matter what the number says because you're going to change that. And then you're going to change that sell number to 1.33800. We still have to set a stop loss for this as well and a take profit. So at 1.33800, what did I do? That was if it was going on the down, right? That's line right here. So at 1.33800, right here is where we would be in on the down. And if it does go there, it will probably be, our stop loss will have to be, this is where it gets hard, because if we go too high, then it's going to be too much risk for such little reward. Let's look at the longer term here. Okay, so even here it tells you there's a nice top going on here. Excuse me. You also got a bit of a top going on here. It's hard to really say what's going to happen here, but if it does go down, it will most likely test this line right here. So half of that is easy to say that that's what it'll probably be. So our take profit could be safely 1.32500. So going to the orders, I'm going to predefined limit. What is going on with the system? It's like crashing on me. I don't know if it's because I have all this stuff running. I'm recording this session as well, so I'll have to fix that later because it's crashing on me. We'll just leave it at the one trade, and then I'm just going to make a quick live trade just to show you what it looks like when the order goes through. Excuse me. and then we'll be done. I'll take any questions after that, and then I can send everybody the video if you want the video to review what we went over, and then hopefully you guys can get some questions together if you're confused about anything, and then that will allow you to come up with a good question base for the next email or meet. Okay? This thing is totally missing the bottom. I have no idea why it's doing this. I only seem to have the problem with this practice one. We got some kind of virus earlier too, so that I got rid of, but maybe I didn't. So I can't finish this trade. Oh, nice. I've never had a problem with the real platform. It's always been completely smooth. This has never happened with the real one. What is going on? Something funny is going on because my mouse icon is flickering. I think it's just because I'm recording right now. I have this going on, a lot of latency stuff. So I'll try one last time, and if it doesn't work, then we'll have to do that the next round. Hopefully you guys are able to make that trade. What's going on? Yeah, if you made the new account, you have to make sure, like the old one that was set for MetaTrader won't work with the AvaTrader. So you have to make sure the account was made for AvaTrader. Alright, I'm not going to go back to the orders and set my stop loss and all that. I'll have to do that later when I'm not recording and stuff because it's not working. But I am going to make a quick trade just to show you. Okay, can you wait one moment, Vanessa? Or does it need to reboot right now? Oh, she already left. We'll just wait for her and then that'll be that. Hopefully you two are getting a good grasp on this so far. I know it's a lot to take in, but yeah, it just takes time. We just got to keep going through it over and over. Repetition is what's going to make this work. And I know the lines can get confusing. It's something that even to this day I still wonder about sometimes. So there's no perfect solution. It's only a give or take type thing. With the AvaTrader newsletter, they usually send one or two a day, maybe even three, to tell you where they think prices are going. It's a good way to confirm our trend lines. Excuse me, our trend lines, and it's also a good way to confirm, like, to see if other people agree with what we're doing. So let's say it made a break and now it broke and we're like, okay, it's going up because it made the break. And then we look at the AvaTrade newsletter thing and they're saying the same thing. They're like, oh, it's going up. They believe it's going up. And that's a good sign. That means other people agree with your assessment. If you do get a break and they're saying it's not going up and you think it is, you may be right, but there's a possibility that they know something you don't know, particularly politically. So you have to watch out for that. So we're going to try and stick to trades that are mentioned in their newsletter. So some of the main 5, 6 of them. And what their newsletter looks like is this: their daily technical analysis. So they tell you right here, this is oil, crude oil. So if the price remains above 60.35, this is their pivot point here, um, then they believe it's going to go up to at least here. And then if it passes here, it'll go here. And if it passes to there, it'll go there. So that's what they believe. So it looks like it had some sort of a break. It's hard to say. If we were trading here and we thought it was going down and then we saw that, we might want to rethink our trade. There's a gold. So you can see maybe there was some kind of trend line here, and then it shot up and broke above the trend line. So now they believe it's going up, which it actually really did. It went up really high. That's the email I sent earlier today. That was a really good move. That could be a lot of money if we were in on that. And again, the Euro USD. So they're sticking to some of the main ones, but there's only a few of them. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 charts that they follow. And if we stick close to that, then we can help confirm our findings. Okay, you're back. All right, I'm gonna make this trade then. Okay, all right, is everything okay, Vanessa? Can you see? Can you see? Okay, so I like gold. I want to look at the gold. Just gonna do this just to show you. So it's probably gonna go down like that and then shoot up some more. This is not a good trade. Not a good trade at all. I would never trade this because there's no break happening, no nothing. But you see earlier today that it actually did make that break. And when it did, that move is huge. Each box is, what is this? Hourly chart. So that would be, I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that when gold moves like this, you make huge profits. So I'm just going to, I don't know. Let's take this here, and remember, we're never going to trade like this. I'm only doing this to show you what it looks like live when a trade goes through. So I know this is probably going to come. It's probably going to stagger here and test this line. And when it touches this line, it'll go up again. But for now, I'm just going to say, let's go down to 1208. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to say sell gold at that price. I'm going to sell not much because I don't think it's going to be. So if we have for every 10 is $1, or is it 100? I don't remember. We'll have to figure that out. That's what's good about this trade account too. If you're unsure of what a brokerage cost is going to be, like this, you don't know how much that's going to be for the real trade, or if you're unsure how much amount is going to equal to how much money you put in, this is a good way to test it out. So I don't remember what 10 is, so I'm just going to throw that in anyways and see what happens. Now I'm in a position. There's my open position. I'm minus $7, minus 70. So that's a buck a pip. So every 10 is a buck a pip. Okay? So we do $500 trades. We do $5 a pip. So I'm going to sell some more, 40 of them, to make it $5 a pip. Now that that's set, I go back into my open positions. There's my two open positions. So now it's $5 a pip. Okay? And I am going to set my limit to be, let's just go to 1208. So if it goes to 1208, we will have made $205. Okay? That's a distance of 573. And then we're going to do the same thing here, 1208. Again, I would never make this trade. This is a very stupid trade, but just to show you what it looks like. You see how we're in the minus right away? So whatever your pip is worth is what the minus is going to be. So we're the same. It's only minus 79 here and minus 70 here. So we're off by 0.9 of a point. So eight pips and 7 pips, and that's the difference in price because we used 40 units instead of 10. So 10 units only made it a buck a pip. 40 units made it $4 a pip. In total, $5 a pip. So our stop loss needs to be, we're just going to make it right here because if it goes up that way, it's probably going to go too high for my liking. So, excuse me, 1216. We'll just make our stop for 1216. I expect to lose on this one. There goes my program again. I don't know what is going on. Anyways, you would click the stop and then you would put your stop loss at 1216. And it would do the same way as when I put in the limit. It will show you how much you would lose if it gets there. I can't do it because now it's crashed again. I have to figure this out. So that's a live trade, and that shows you how we start in the minus. That's the brokerage fee. They're taking their stuff right away. And I gotta close this. So, is there any questions? If you have no questions, just type in no. No, they're there. People probably have questions. No. Okay, good. Oh, just waiting on Prudence. Okay. Now I know it's been a confusing meeting. I'm sure you got a lot of information in, more than you really wanted to cram in your heads. But we're just going to continue doing it like that. Every time we meet, we're going to make some paper trades. We're going to look at some charts. We're going to make some lines every single time. We're just going to keep doing that over and over again. I'm going to keep sending emails. Yes, I am going to send this video. If you want the video, say yes right now. If you don't, say no. So you want it, Prudence? Keaton wants it. Do you want it, Vanessa? Okay. Everybody wants the video. Everybody's going to get it. Make sure you write your questions down. Any questions you have. If it seems stupid, don't worry. You got to ask questions. I feel like you guys haven't asked enough questions. I don't know if it's because I told it good enough, or if you guys are just totally lost and you're like scratching your heads. So hopefully you can come up with some good questions and we can make sure that the ball is rolling. Make sure you read that tutorial I sent you by email if you haven't already. And if you have, overlook it again just to get a sense of what we're doing. And okay, that's fine. That's fine. If you're still having a problem with downloading it and getting AvaTrader to work, I can come to each of your places and make sure you have it properly, because if you don't have that properly, you're going to be left behind. Oh, the Mac version. Yes, you do. Does it even have a Mac version? It does, because you re-downloaded it. Good. I forgot about that. I thought when I had my Mac that it only allowed you to do the web trader at the time. Okay, don't worry, Keaton. I'll get yours working for sure. If you still struggle, Vanessa, just let me know, and when I get the chance, When I work, I go all over the place, so it gets that way. All right, not a big deal. Not a big deal. We'll get it all working. But you did see it through me, so you can look at this video. You can watch again. If I get the chance, I'll drop by when I can. Yeah, of course. You're always going to need help. Okay. Yeah, no problem. We're just gonna make this work. If try to get the Avatrader working afterwards on your own time, and if not, then I will definitely come. Just review everything I sent, and hopefully everything's good. And you could set what's that? Yeah, you can send this to Cindy when I send it to you, or I'll just email it to her too. So if that's it, then I think we're good to go. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming. I will talk again soon. Right. Give me a call, Keaton, if you wanted to meet. You do. Sit here so hold on one second. Just wait 1 second.